had to ask, and I will throw this to Jay. You're one of those guys like to antagonize in rivalry games and shit like that. How do you feel about flag playing? We had a lot of that last weekend.
I, Look, man, the kids play with a lot of emotion. You can't tell the kids. And here's what we had this debate a long time ago on the show. Right? We talked about how much they try and take emotions out of sport. We talked about swimming being one of those sports that tries to cancel it completely. And now these kids can't really express themselves. I heard a lot of people talking this week about it's too much. What do you expect going to happen when you disrespect somebody else's field? It's not the first time we've seen this. It's not the first time we've seen players stomp on a logo or do something. When you have a heated rivalry, emotions are going to be super high. So there's two things you have to do. One, you bulk up your security so there's double the amount of security on the field at the right moment. So if you have to direct people away because you see Stitch about to break off, you can have it direct right away. Or you have such a grave consequence that the teams don't even dare do it. For instance, you get disqualified from a bowl game. It's like, what did you just say? Yeah. If you're fighting on the field and it's that grave, you ain't playing in your bowl game. So guess what? You might be the first team ever to make the college football playoffs and you're canceled. So if you make the punishment so egregious, people are like, the coaches are straight up, not only will you be done with this program, but nobody's going to recruit you for being such a dumbass. So your career is over. I don't know if you have to be that extreme. I think the players are smart enough to realize it doesn't have to get to the point where people's health are in jeopardy because, you're freaking trying to uppercut guys and knock them out. But emotions ride too high. Like when we were 20 years old, we were ready to knock some heads off because we heard somebody say something they might not have said because we were a little bit too drunk or, whatever it might have been. 20-year-olds don't get it, bro. 20-year-olds are riding off emotions, right? And that's just how it's going to be. So how do you stop this? I don't know.
Like you don't stop it. That's the thing. It's like, I think it's just a bunch of copycats. This is the most flag stomping. Number one, you look like idiots when you're trying to put a flag. Yes, and I'm talking to my Michigan Wolverines. You look like idiots when you're trying to put a flag in a turf field. No, in a turf field. I don't give a shit if it's frozen. It's fucking turf. How the fuck do you put it in the turf? Like, you're not sticking it. Like, you're literally just doing this, and then it just drops. And so it's dumb. You're never going to take the emotion away. You got to remember, and I'll go back to Aziz Al-Shahir, who was suspended, and we're talking about adrenaline and fighting and everything, and he's suspended for 3 games and whatnot. You can't take the emotion out. You're never going to take the emotion. These guys are playing at a very high level. This is Division I college football. I say that because this is the highest of the high before the NFL. This is where these guys are playing at the testosterone is moving, everything is going, you're going at 100 miles an hour. You're not thinking straight. You're never going to think straight. And you're never going to have a consequence to make you think straight. You know why? That's why you have the coaching staff. Like my coach and your coach are just standing there with their thumb up their ass and sitting there like, yeah. Like, dumbasses, like, do something. I know you're upset, but do something. Like, that was the biggest thing with Ryan Day is like,
But was like, look, you guys, let's just leave it to be. I'm here to bring peace and love into the show right now.
Fuck peace and love. I love the animosity. Bring it on. The only thing I don't like is the storming the field. Like, get the field, like in a rivalry game, heated rivalry game, cut the storming of the field. Cut that completely out because but that is no. That's putting.
A player got pepper sprayed. A couple players got pepper sprayed, right? Because now it's out of hand.
But you got to
want it to be out of hand. Like,
but that had nothing to do with storming the field, though.
It did because at some point.
No, it did not.
At some point, they have to.
No one stormed the field.
Yeah, but here's what they fear. What they fear is that somebody's going to end up being caught in the middle. It doesn't get caught in the middle, so we need to just dead this.
Right, they pepper sprayed the players on the field. There was no people from the stands on the field.
That's what I mean, and the players shouldn't be. But the problem is, it turns into a melee, and when it's a melee and it's a brawl, you don't know Jack from John. No, because
I blame more of the coaching staff. No, I don't. I blame more of the coaching staff. Like, you have a coaching staff of over 100 people. You're telling me you can't push these guys away? We've seen scrums before happen like this. We have seen scrums like this happen before where coaches end up getting in the middle and they start.
42-year-old, 160-pound.
Come on, bro. You see these coaches sometimes.
Come on, bro.
Come on, bro. Go home. No. All right. Go to bed. Time to go to sleep. You don't even. Come on, bro. Like, come on. We've seen it many times where fights, and then also you see the coaching staff, you see the entire staff get in the middle, and then they push it away. It can happen. I mean, I don't agree with the
fight. Not when it's two teams that hate each other. That's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a fight and there's the rivalry.
Look at the pepper spray. it's not like they fired a gun. They pepper sprayed, okay? And like it was mostly Michigan players that got hit with it. So I mean, at the end of the day, Ohio State got away scot free in that aspect. So they got to pay what, a $265,000 fine, which is like
Two pennies on the dollar.
here's two people's tuition to the school.
Well, that's a couple people's NIL salary. Right. If we were sitting here and let's say the Trojans go ahead and they put that flag in the middle of touchdown Jesus, how are you feeling?
I mean, I'm feeling upset, but I don't know. I would be more shocked if Notre Dame reacted that way, like started to actually fight them, because Notre Dame and not to
Hey, but the logo says
yeah,
They're literally fighting.
They don't.
Enough of the holy Jesus shit. They'll fight them just as much as.
No, these days a lot of the guys don't put the fight in Fighting Irish. It seems. I don't know.
Because they're number 4 team in the country.
I didn't say competitiveness. I meant like they're not gonna like start throwing fists at USC.
Well, because the rivalry's not there at that point
Exactly.
right now. That's what he means. Like, if the rivalry was at that either point,
Yeah, I'm saying like Reggie Bush.
we've seen it at that point.
No.
We've seen it at that point where they were fighting each other and shit. Like,
No, I mean it might not be pepper spray. It might be holy water, but you know, it might be power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you.
I mean, I'll be honest with you,
How this was happening?
I'm not against the flag playing 100% because, so it's two ways. Some people say, well, if you don't want to plant the flag, win. You're right. You win, they don't get to plant the flag. B,
True.
if they decide to plant the flag, then fuck it. I got the right to also knock you in the fucking mouth. That's the way I feel about this. Because the thing about this is, just because you win don't mean you get the right to do what you want to in somebody else's house. But that doesn't also mean I have the right to retaliate. I'll give you an example. If I had one of y'all over my house and we were playing spades or I don't know, Connect Four, whatever the fuck we were playing, and you just started talking shit and you won, and then I was like, hey bro, and then you were like, hey bro, I gotta take a shit. And I said, please use the master bathroom. And you just said, fuck the bathroom. I'm going to the master bathroom and I'm using the guest room. I have the ability to knock you in the fucking mouth. You also had the ability to say fuck you and keep doing this shit. So
Moral of the story: don't use Trey's master bathroom.
yeah, John, don't use Trey's master bathroom when you visit in a couple weeks.
bathroom. Remember that when you come visit in a couple weeks.
Or sleep on the couch.
Because you have the ability to do that. So I'm not necessarily.
You have a spare bathroom, John.
Yeah, put that in the house. One of them is off limit. No, so I'm not necessarily against it because this is what happens in rivalries. I remember years ago that asshole, the Baker man, putting the flag at Ohio State 50, and I still fucking hate that motherfucker to the day. Partly because I was sorry because we lost, and partly because I was tired of his smug ass, and that's what it was with him. But at the end of the day, I get it. It's a heated game. People are going to do this. People are going to fight. This is football. It's hard to tell these guys to turn this shit off. It just is.
Yeah, it's just like the whole like thing with the Jacksonville running linebacker. It's like everyone's like, he should have slowed down. It's like, dude, he's playing a competitive game. When he sees a guy with a ball, run and hit. He doesn't care if it's Trevor Lawrence or if it's freaking the running back. It's you go and you hit. And people don't understand that. And it's people like Paul Feinbaum that come in and have never played a down in their life, have never had a competitive nature in their body, and say, oh, well, he should have done this. Well, maybe if you should actually be in that game.
Can you imagine Paul Feinbaum playing linebacker?
Oh,
Yo, he would fly over guys. He'd be like,
and if
Got
he
big
did
old ears.
If he did hit anybody, he would just kind of like fold in half. I think. Like.
I don't mind. That ball head might have so much glare on it, he might blind you, and then you get the sack based on the fact you can't see him coming.